Petroleum Reserve is severely, we're talking like 40% depleted at this point, with nowhere to turn thanks to his terrible and disastrous foreign policy. This is as with the looming threat of a surge in fuel costs are on the realm. So for more on this, let's welcome in Texas Congressman and member of the House Armed Services Committee, Pat Fallon. Congressman, welcome back.
Hey, Carl, how are you? Good morning.
So I'm looking at this and I'm like, geez, we have a real problem here. We've drained 40% of the petroleum reserves, and now Biden is literally yelling at oil executives saying, you got to lower your prices. You made money last year.
You know, Carl, he has a fundamental misunderstanding of how the economy works because he's never signed the front of one paycheck in all of his 174 years of life. So what we need to do here is a few things. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve was established in 1975 to protect the United States in case of an act of God, national emergency, time of war. It is not to be used for political expediency by any party 2 weeks prior to an election they're about to lose.
True.
At its height under President Trump, the reserve had 695 million barrels. Today, it sits at 401 million barrels. So as you just said, it's a 43% reduction. And he's doing it by fiat and decree. I filed legislation, H.R. 7996, that would literally require an act of Congress to tap into the reserve.
Yeah, I mean, that all seems super rational. I don't understand why anybody would oppose that. General consensus for the betterment of the country, but that's just some pesky Republican stuff. Biden said that when he came into office the other day, that gas was $5 a gallon. Take a listen.
Economic growth is up, the price of inflation is down, real incomes are up, and the price of gas is down. Today, the most common price of gas in America is $3.39, down from over $5 when I took office.
It was $2.30 about when he took office. Am I crazy?
Wow. Carl, he's having a bit of, imagine that, he's having a bit of trouble remembering accurately. It was $2.38 the day he took office, and the national average, it obviously varies daily, was about $3.90 just a few days ago. So what Biden did mention in that little, I guess, word vomit would be the fact that mortgage interest rates are at 7%, which is the highest we've seen in 20 years. Inflation is at 8.2, which is the highest we've seen in 40 years. Our 401ks, the average American's 401k is down 25% or $34,000. We'll be paying $1,400 more a year in gasoline, and our real wages is actually down $5,000 for a year. So everything he said wasn't true.
But he's going to get away with it because that's what Democrats do. It's super costly, though, for the United States. I mean, President Trump was criticized when he wanted to refill the reserves at $20 a barrel, and now he wants to, now we're going to have to refill at, what, 80, 90, maybe even $100 a barrel. Is there any method other than turning on the pumps in our own country, which as I know is a noble concept, but they're not going to do that. Is there any mechanism we have to bring oil prices down even if the Strategic Petroleum Reserve completely runs out?
That's the funny thing, Carl. It's a supply and demand issue. So create more supply. And they just fundamentally, they don't want to do that. They want to rely on mini Putins like Venezuela and Saudi Arabia when we can unleash the American energy sector. When he canceled the Keystone XL on day one, a lot of folks don't realize the impact that had. That was 830,000 barrels a day. That's about 1% of the world, what the world needs on a daily basis. And he just said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go in another direction.
Yeah.
When he said no more, this is another interesting fact. The amount of land, federal land and waters that is being used right now, leased for gas and oil exploration, is lower today than it was in World War II. That is remarkable.
Whoa. You know what? If it was up to me, Congressman, I would just line oil rigs from Tijuana to Juneau, Alaska, drill, baby, drill, and then when we figure something out better, we go all into that. But until then, I don't know. I want to talk to you about messaging and money. Okay, we talked about it earlier in the show. Republicans, especially Tudor Dixon, you can see right here, is being outraised at a 5-1 margin, and she went from down like 17 points a month and a half ago to neck and neck. It is a toss-up at this day. Does this just say that the American people are like, I kind of agree with the Republican message a little bit more, no matter how much money you spend?
Well, the COVID Queen Whitmer seems to be in a bit of trouble. And I just saw a poll today, Carl, that just shocked me. which in Washington State, Murray's only up by, in one poll anyway, 1% in Washington State. If the Republicans are competing in Washington State, the Democrats are going to have a very bad day in 2 weeks. And incidentally, that Fetterman debacle, I've been watching politics, in debates and been in the arena for over 30 years. I have never seen anything like that. It was unbelievably short-sighted to have him out there on stage. It was unfair to him and the people of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, also, but if you criticize him, you're the bad guy for criticizing a disability. Nobody's talking about the fact is, nobody's criticizing his disability. We just think that we want to make sure that the guy we send to the U.S. Senate, by the way, there's only 100 of them, is actually able to debate the merits of the issues that he stands for.
Yes, you know what? Fetterman, I wish him the best, but he's not. I don't want him flying a plane that I'm on, and I don't want him voting for, our country when he's going to be 1% of the U.S. Senate. Oz just, ran circles around him, and he's going to be the far better choice. Even, I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, or an independent. Oz can do the job. Fetterman can't.
Yeah. And, Fetterman did say he's now for seemingly fracking, which was bizarre to me. Congressman Pat Fallon, always a pleasure, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Carl. God bless.
All right, folks, we'll be right back.